Do you see recorded? Okay. Meeting is adjourned at 8:38, and I wonder if somebody would lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I see that we have Michelle and Zoom. Gary, did you Zoom? Nope, Gary did not Zoom in. He told me he wouldn't be here, but he might Zoom in. Is Chelsea there?
Chelsea's on.
Okay, she's Zoomed. Okay, we have no village rep anymore. Is Brian there?
I'm here. Brian's here.
Great. Tyler's there. Rick is zoomed in. Matt is there. Sherry?
No, she's not here.
Okay. All right. So that's attendance. Is there anyone willing to make a motion to approve the minutes from last week or last month or make any edits?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Minutes. Is there anybody in the public there?
No.
Okay. And then I don't have any correspondence. Michelle, do you have any correspondence that's relevant to the whole group?
No.
Okay. Okay, I wanted to go through the prior month's assignments just to clean it up. I sent it to everybody, but I've done a little bit of cleanup myself. So I want to just go through it real quickly because I know I have some redundancies there. So let me see if I can't pull that up. Okay, Vic, with input from Sherry to update the website. I have not done that. I need to find out when we're going to launch the new website because I really don't want to do things twice. So I will follow up on that. I was to contact grant writers. I've spoken to two already. We have the guy from Manistee who we can use if he's not busy, and we have the other gentleman from Traverse City. I have not spoken to the one that did Port St. Lucie, but I can do that at some point. Gene was to work with Tyler to organize a volunteer day at Cardin to remove vegetation while preserving plants from last year. And there was another one that said Chelsea to coordinate with Brian on scheduling volunteer work for cleaning invasive species at Cardin, clear hornet's nest first. So can I get rid of those? Should I move those to March? What should I do with those?
Yeah, I think we should move those out for invasive species, clearing them, because it'd be hard to identify them now.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm just going to move those assignments to later in the year. Gene, you had something?
No, I agree. We should move them.
All right. Bid to obtain multi-year contract for Langland ADA walkway. Matt, I'm not sure where the heck we are on this thing. I mean, you know, Ed was going to talk about what's going on in Manistee. He did. He came back to a board meeting and said, well, they have people that shovel it every day. Gene, I don't think we have the wherewithal to do that. Do we really? I mean,
Well, when we have talked about it, our township meetings was, he talked about entering into a multi-year contract. And if we did that, I think it was it Larson, maybe?
no. Yeah, that's what I proposed all along is Anthony's is willing to go buy the product, buy the sweeper, but they want a multi-year contract. I didn't really hear that they were supportive of that. I heard, you know, well, let's find out what Manistee did. And what Manistee does is they have employees that sweep it every day.
Right, and they have equipment there that they use to do it. So, cause they were kind of like, they kind of laughed about the fact that I went down there and shoveled it and stuff. But, they did talk about the potential of getting some kind of, you know, sweeper thing or having someone do it. Cause I told him, I said, I took my 10 horsepower blower down there, it didn't work. Especially if the sand's wet, you definitely need some kind of sweeper tool that's mounted on like a like a walk behind thing with a big broom. I mean, I've seen them. The people, sometimes people use them to clear snow. It would work great for those sections. So, I mean, I guess to maybe move them off the needle a little bit, we could say at the next meeting, the Parks Department is gonna, we wanna set aside money to buy one, and then they're gonna say, well, why in the heck you wanna buy one? And say, well, because we haven't gotten anywhere with anything else. You know, and maybe that
with
will
you.
spur the conversation to check into it more or whatever. But I think that's really the only option because, I don't think there's no other sustainable way to make it a safe pathway, because every time the wind blows a lot from, say, like a little bit of a north wind or whatever, it just, especially on the south entrance where it's more of a like a steep hill, it's kind of slippery a little bit when the sand dries. And then I mean, especially the fact that we're kind of saying, hey, this is an all access to the beach thing for ADA, you know, like devices and chairs and walkers and all that. And we have benches for people that said, well, if the first 35 feet of the boardwalk or whatever has got 8 inches of sand on it, then it becomes not ADA. So we gotta do something. And I think it's just the fact that bringing it to their attention and saying, this is a priority. The community, I mean, overwhelmingly loves this thing. It's gotten the most positive reviews of people being able to access the beach and walk down there and sit on a bench. Then we need to get it, maintain it, and make sure it's usable. So.
Budget item. So that reminds me, to everybody, this is the time of year you need to be getting me things that you want to be included in the budget.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, I this year, rather than doing a budget based on, you know, our expenses to date and then me annualizing it only to have that wrong. I talked to Jennifer, and I'm going to wait until December 31st, get our cumulative spending, and then I'm going to do a budget for all of the regular daily kind of stuff. And then what we come up with in the 5-year plan is what we'll include in our capital expenditures for the year. And so, like Michelle, for example, you talked about, well, maybe we should add some hours to Mariah in the wintertime for, you know, dog cleanup at Langland. So now's the time to get me those things so that I can include those in the budget, because that would be a new item. And then I'll figure out how to add this in there as well.
But what, do you have an actual, can you give us an actual hard date? What is the date you want it by?
I want everything by December 31st at the absolute latest, everything.
Like this. So what we're.
Yeah, cause I'm
But a
working
little
on
bit heavy
other,
duty.
Okay.
Maybe,
Yeah, that puts me behind the gun a little bit because the Ed's gonna want to see our first draft in January, so I'm gonna have to take whatever's given to me and put together pretty quickly, but let's just use December 31st as the deadline for next year's budget.
Hey, Vic,
Okay, go ahead.
as far as expenses, all the stuff that comes out of the survey, if we find something, that's all gonna be capital. That wouldn't be, for lack of a better word, an expense item, right? Is that what you're thinking?
well,
That's
not
that's my guess, but I don't know for sure. If you were to get some things like they want a whole lot more of Michelle's activities, then it would be supplies. But my guess is that it's primarily going to be CapEx. But you know, we'll see as it comes in. My
Okay,
hope
I
is
was
to have-
waiting, I was
Go ahead.
gonna wait for any budget comments on that, but thank you for that.
Okay. All right, next item on the follow-up next steps is Gene to follow up on a storage solution. Did we ever get anything, Gene?
Well, we have temporary storage in my summer place until
Okay.
April 1st. So I mean, it's all there. Michelle and I went there yesterday, so it's not a big deal. We don't, but as of April 1st, we have to be out. I still am hoping for the one behind the fairgrounds, but the people that he thought were going to non-renew didn't. So I'm exploring other options for something for April 1st.
Okay, so good. So then, in other words, when your season opens up next year, it's got to be out of there, but that gives us a little breathing room.
Yes, and I don't want to have, especially when it starts snowing, I don't want to be carting all that stuff someplace, so it doesn't make any sense. It's not hurting anybody where it is right now. Nobody,
Okay. Next item is Mickey to investigate village interest in Glen Park as a mountain bike trail, which is something that came up several township meetings ago. Mickey was to investigate. Mickey is now off the board. I've asked, and he sent a letter asking for someone else from the village to join. I've never heard anything. I asked Dave to follow up, and I've not heard anything from Dave yet. So at this point, we do not have a village contact, and I'm just going to let that whole Glen Park thing as a mountain bike trail die unless somebody feels differently.
I think
I
it's on the
strongly support
survey.
that.
I think it's on the survey, so we wait to see what happens from the survey.
Okay, all right. But as far as a follow-up for us, I'm gonna take it off.
I agree.
I believe, if I could just say something real quick, I believe that it's on the survey, but it's not specifically pointing out Glen Park. So
Okay,
for me, I would encourage us to take it off the table, because the bike, if it's a mountain bike that is wanted, it does not necessarily need to be the suggestion that was made by somebody who's no longer sitting.
I agree with
yeah.
that. We're saying the same thing. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, Michelle, contact Knuckles North about recreational mapping resources. Did you get a chance to do that?
No, I didn't, but at our meetings, last 2 months were canceled because there was other meetings, so I'll just send out an email to John from Grand Traverse.
And then Brian and Sherry working with County Master Rec Inventory Excel documents, splitting road ends from other resources. Any action on that? Or are you waiting for me with a map?
I've met with Sherry once, and she and her partner Grant are trying to get to some of these places, and I'm going to put it on the document. She's been sick and she's been behind on work, and so there hasn't been a lot of progress there.
Okay, and I think we again, we need to find a mapping solution. I brought it up again at the board meeting and was told, well, that's not a priority, which I'm going to address myself. I believe we need to get a map solution pretty quickly. Rick did already send out the final version of the 5-year goals and objectives, so I am going to mark that as complete. Next one is BIC to work with Ed and Spicer on mapping solutions, which I just told you about. BIC to create a Word document showing the county 5-year plans proposed in that the last one and the new one. Okay, I've got to do that yet. Schedule a session with the board. So this is something I want to talk to the group about. Are we really at a point, or should we just wait for the results from the survey, kind of gather what we get there, and then decide how to move forward? What's everybody's view on meeting with the board?
My comment, for what it's worth, is wait for the survey. We spent a lot of time on that, and that's going to be a key driver.
Other comments?
I would agree. I think that's the main source of new information for us to work with. So I would go along with that.
All right, I agree. I mean, we've done, I think 4 of the 5 deliverables for the county plan, the last one being the recreation inventory, which includes the mapping that we just discussed. So I think we're ahead of the game. I do want to try to get as much done as we can in terms of the 5-year plan, so we can see how much we're going to put into the first year, because that will go into our capital expenditure budget for this year. So hopefully we have a pretty good clear vision by, say, the end of January or February. But my goal is to push like crazy. I think if everything works the way it's supposed to, Jennifer is going to mail out a card for the survey in the next several days. And then Ed is going to put something in the tax notification, which goes out at the end of the month. So my hope is that we're going to go from the 169 that we have right now up to, I'm sticking with 500 by the end of December. So we'll see how that goes.
A quick question, Vic, on that one. I attended the township meeting for my 2 times a annual that I will participate in the township meetings. And it sounded like the card was not, when I was listening to Jennifer, that the card is still in development. Is that, do we have a timeline when she will have that card? She said she was correlating with Val Harmon for a picture, and that the design is in works. but you said that a couple days from now. So I'm concerned that we're not gonna get that flyer out.
She's
Looking
up, she
to-
worked with Dale a couple weeks ago.
Could you say that again? I missed what you said, Michelle.
I was saying that my understanding, because I connected Val and Jennifer, my understanding is that was done, what, Vic, you were
No.
on that like 3 weeks ago?
If they do it.
Yeah, there was, first Val was out of town, then, what she submitted to Jennifer felt, wouldn't work as well as she wanted it to work in a postcard fashion, so she's made some adjustments to it. I would agree that it should have gone out already, and I've been following up regularly and will continue to do that. We need to get it out as quickly as possible, so. Yeah, Chelsea, you're right. It's not moving as quickly as I want it to, so I'm just gonna keep following up.
I appreciate all the hard work though, Vic. Thank you so much.
Okay, Dave M to follow up with Lane. Meister. Yeah, Meister's supposed to follow up on getting us a village rep, so. And then I moved everything else down to the completed section. So that's all that I have on assignments. Moving to report of committees, I don't think we have anything, Village Township, but Michelle, do you have anything that you want to talk about? That or events?
No. I cannot remember if I reported on the results of the summit last time.
We have that right below in other township board meeting actions, Irvin to review the report you presented to the board.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move right to that because I included the two documents that Michelle gave to the board. And Michelle, do you want to take the lead on how that
Sure.
went? And anything else you want to talk about?
Hey, Vic, do you have them up? Do you want to share your screen? 'Cause I don't have it in front of me.
Are you plugged into the big board?
Yeah, so I mean, I can go into my email but right now, everybody just sees what I have on my screen, so.
Yeah, that's the next thing, the e-bike is next to.
If you're able to do it, Tyler, that would be great. I'm perfectly willing to try the whole share thing, but it would be easier if you could just pull it up. I promise to get better on this technology, right, Matt?
I'm still locked out of my computer. I can't get in.
Uh,
I think part of it is that because I was using Ed's credentials and.
I think you got Ed's old computer.
Which
Oh.
document are we looking at, Michelle?
Maybe.
Well, I don't remember what he called it.
There's next step assignments,
Alright.
township parks, recreation, all events,
Okay, well, you
program.
can go to that one. Just go to whichever one and I'll talk about whichever one you put up. Okay, so that one there is actually, the one that you're showing, that's, most of that was presented by me at the last meeting. Because I had been to the financial sustainability certificate. I expanded on on that in this, because I didn't wanna have to talk too much about it, so I wrote down what I had said verbally there. I don't think that I had talked about the programming summit, which we had 6 people signed up for, but 28 came, and I believe there were 22 different organizations represented, and the feedback has just been phenomenal. I mean, people really liked it, and I think because most of the people there were very gregarious themselves to begin with, and so they really were excited to be there and to talk to other people who did the same type of thing, and so I don't think I need to go through each of the exercises we did, but it came out beautifully, and there were a lot of new connections made. I've heard feedback that there'll be new partnerships going forward, and the result of that meeting hopefully will be that we will have an open house in May, June-ish, and we will have, the organizations will have tables, and the purpose will be to connect with either potential volunteers or potential clients, if you will. And hopefully, like I said, that'll go well too, and we'll get the public to come in. One of the things that we're trying to overcome is the, kind of lack of knowledge of what everybody is doing. And so it's a way to bring everybody together and just share information. So that was that,
Michelle, can I add something?
for sure.
One of the things that we talked, first of all, for those of you that weren't in the room, Michelle received a lot of congratulations from all the board members on how well the whole events thing is going. And so I want to add my congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
And then one of the things that we talked about was getting volunteers and such. And this gets back to the fact that on the website, what I'd like to do is to create something that is about Parks and Rec. And, something that we've talked about in the past, including the bylaws and then the types of the ways that you can volunteer. And during the discussion, Michelle, you talked about how it might be good to sort of more clearly delineate the kinds of volunteers that we have, and that might encourage people to join up, if I understand what you said. And my thought was, well, why don't you put that in words for me? And then as I add that link to the website, we'll use the sign up thing to have people sign up for being a weeder or helping you at this bend, or I'll rely on you to come up with the kinds of volunteers that you're looking for, but I'd like to get it out on the website so we have a tool for people to actually sign up. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's fantastic. Yes, and I'll be working with Jean as well, because she has a lot of connections and works with the volunteers as well. Yes, I'm gonna try and work on that document along with the costs and everything. Hopefully by December 15th.
Okay, that would be great. And then what I'll do is I'll put that as a target so that before the season starts, we've got that up on the website as how you can volunteer for 2026. So, all right, so go ahead.
Sticking with that subject, I was reminded yesterday that when we are looking for volunteers online, that we had gone down the path of having some type of background check on those that want to work with the kids. I just wanted to bring that back. I think we've resolved that issue. So, right, we decided,
I know we've been working on it internally at the district.
yeah. So, just a reminder that comes along with posting on the web for volunteers. That's all.
Recollection of that, and Matt, I thought you were involved, was that the school was doing screening and that any joint events with the school would be managing that, but that's just from memory, so I may be a little foggy.
No, you're right. You are right on the money.
But that's only for the school events. If we do Jean, I think that the school events are the only ones where we have people outside of you and I. Is that right?
You're muted, Gene.
But I don't think that they've run a background check on me.
You'd have to give me your information.
I'll give you my information.
No,
I feel better.
Well,
having
that was kind of always my question too, because we've done events with the school and,
They do it, yeah.
but they don't, because they've never asked us.
Oh.
Like, we just go in, we talk with the
Exactly.
teacher, we show up, we do our thing.
Well, let me ask you this, when you do your thing at the school, is a teacher present or are you alone with the kids?
There is typically a teacher present, but like we've had situations where we've combined an event with a class and also external volunteers. So
Yeah.
we bring volunteers in to participate in a field day, and we might split the class. So the teacher might not be with all of the students at the same time.
Yeah.
We've got some students with volunteers and some students with the teacher, some students with our educator.
Yeah.
So the way we got around it was essentially a waiver. If it's with the school's responsible.
Correct.
If it's not, then what we will do is we have a partnership agreement with whatever organization we're partnering with that defines who's responsible. And then if we are responsible as the host partner, we do background checks on our volunteers.
Yeah,
So,
and they just use that free service through the state police.
yeah,
the
that's what we use to.
Right.
Okay.
That's the industry
Keep me
standard.
updated on how you're.
Yeah, our stuff is still we're working with a lawyer to review all of our policies and procedures right now, so they'll have the final sign off, but that's in the interim what we've been using.
Yeah, and the school's take on it is, like if you're gonna go. Let's say you're gonna take that third grade class to a museum. They don't do eye chats on the museum workers, you know what I mean? So they do eye chats on their, like, so they're gonna take the bus from Onekama to Manistee to go do whatever. And there's 3 parents or whatever that wanna come on the bus as a chaperone. The 3 parents that come on the bus with the teacher, those are the ones that get eye chat.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And so, I mean, and I get, and my guess is our relationship is decent enough with the school. If there was any concern, we could simply make a policy that's, you know, we check with the school first. And just say, hey, cause all it is, it's like your full name, driver's license and date of birth is the 3 things they need. And it's free for them. It takes seconds. We could say, our policy is that we use the school's iChat. We'd have to check with them if they're cool with it. And we submit it to, I think it's the secretary of the superintendent. She runs them and then gives us.
Well, it would be free for us too if we set up an account.
We could do that too. Onekama Township could potentially, and good, cause we're a governmental unit, you get that for free.
I think that when it boils down to it, if the criteria is there a teacher present? And Jean was muted, but I mean, we had a similar situation when we were doing the field trips, but there's, especially with special ed, there's always someone from the schools there. So I think it comes down to just Jean and I.
Yeah.
So we could just run that and be done with it.
Yeah.
We're gonna lose Gene in a few minutes, so I wanna jump down to water testing. What's going on with water testing? Are we done yet?
I have got to double check with Jennifer to see if she got the results back. But I was assured that they were gonna get there before the well got turned off, but I do not know that for sure. I gotta check with Jennifer.
All right, thanks. I just wanted to jump to that because I know you gotta leave. So Michelle, back to the other things that you wanna go over?
You can just take a look. We have, got to 1285 on our number. I don't think I had that number last time. As far as the reaches for the year. I am thinking about, potential winter, but I think it would be pushed probably back to February. I'm hoping that Tyler will do another collaboration on an event with snowshoes and maybe even with Brian on snowshoes. Stay posted, but that'll be 2026. So I think that's our number, wrapping it up for 2025.
Yeah, I think we have one program scheduled for February right now for a snowshoe hike at not sure where at, but I think there's already one scheduled. So yeah. Is that the one you're talking about for February?
Well, I don't know.
I'm not involved with the
Oh,
snowshoe hike.
Oh, okay.
So I think Josh is leading
I will touch base.
a hike. I'm just saying scheduling wise, if we're thinking 2 snowshoe events in February, we'll probably wanna
Okay.
space them out. That way if one doesn't have snow, we're
Are
covered.
there any birds there in winter time for a snowshoe bird walk?
No,
No birds?
no,
You could do the winter
Well,
bird
there-
counts.
You
Maybe
could put the
without
plastic
snowshoes.
ones way up high in the tree so people think they're real birds.
yeah, there's
Winter count?
a few, yeah, we do winter bird counts and stuff that. Most in the winter is we concentrate on waterfowl. That's the interesting thing. So,
Take them out to the pier.
yeah, the piers and the channel and what's open in the lake and stuff like that.
Speaking of that, did anyone, where did we end up? There was a duck that was dead on Lyman.
There's
Remember that
lots of-
conversation?
Lots of dead ducks out
Yeah.
there.
So
It's,
just so everybody knows, since I assume frequent our parks, if you see a dead duck on the shore, I wasn't aware, but Brian, you wanna explain what you thought it was
yeah.
and how dangerous it
Oh, yeah,
is?
Tyler probably knows about this too. It's botulism, so
Mm.
they've been eating the quagga mussels and they concentrate botulism toxins and it kills them. I was out at this preserve on Lake Michigan and with the conservancy the other day, and there were long-tailed ducks floating in the water, washing up on shore, and dead ones scattered here and there.
Which longtails are typically a mile out.
Yeah, they're out
They're deep
feeding the-
divers, so.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and they concentrate it, and supposedly, you know, if you can, you're supposed to dig those up and bury them, and so eagles.
Locusts,
and
yeah,
dogs
there's stuff won't eat.
Dogs and coyotes and raccoons will eat them and die and spread it.
And theoretically, you can throw them away in your household trash too. You just double bag
You just
it.
don't touch them, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's,
wear
that's the important
gloves,
message.
yeah.
Don't let your dog touch them, don't.
Yeah, and
Don't
then
touch
just make sure you wash your hands afterwards. And I think Eagle wants,
Burn
or
them.
MDARD wants it reported if there is a die-off of 6 or more in an area. They would like to track that, because you also have avian influenza that you're watching for too, so. They're looking for like mass die-offs, but if somebody finds a dead, they don't want every dead bird that's found reported to them, so 6 or more is kind of the threshold.
And are we seeing a lot on the beach?
Yeah,
Or how far down are those? Pretty deep.
they're coating the entire bottom of Lake Michigan now. Zebra mussels were just in a ring around the lake, you know,
Yeah,
narrow
shallow
range.
waters, yeah.
And, quagga mussels are supposedly coating the entire lake basin now. So, yeah, it's dramatic. It's a huge
And what
change.
are they eating that gets botulism?
What they do is they eat, algae and plankton out of the water, and then, when they consume it, then they defecate. And their waste, require bacteria to break it down, and that takes oxygen out of the water, and that's anaerobic. And anaerobic water increases the likelihood of the botulism bacteria to
Gotcha.
grow. And it spreads.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just a vicious cycle.
Another invasive species.
Yeah, but it's interesting, when I was in college in the eighties, or actually late seventies, that was a time when everybody thought the Great Lakes were fixed. Cause we had, alewives, you know, it was really bad, and they were dying off, and it was horrible. They introduced Toho salmon, and then that problem was done, and everybody was, yeah, we fixed the Great Lakes, and I remember sitting in an ecology class with this Professor Cooper, and people all felt that way, and he said, no.
Yeah.
This system is out of flux. He said, you just wait. There's so many creatures are gonna come into the Great Lakes, it's gonna be so chaotic and messed up. And I always remember he said that, and now, you know, we got
True.
everything in there, so.
Hmm.
And we don't know what's gonna happen.
No.
Because it's changed so much. And this other program I went to, presented a paper at a conference, and there was a guy from NOAA there. They had done a study on phytoplankton and zooplankton in Lake Michigan. They said there were more changes in the year like 2005 and 2006 than there had been in 14,000 years, because of the spread of quagga mussels. And he had charts of going back to the 1930s of plankton levels, just kind of like this, and then in 2005. Yeah, it's just a huge change in the lakes.
No, back, really.
Oh, yeah, it's new territory now,
Yeah.
so.
Michelle, is there anything else that you wanted to bring up about
You
the?
want e-bike thing?
Where was
Yeah.
the e-bike is at the end?
Yeah, it's under new business. So I'm gonna jump down past the various parks, and I've already beat myself up for the web, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Water testing is done. Invasive species. Tyler, I thought that was a great report. For hopefully you guys had a chance to look at it, but we got a report at every one of our parks, and I was encouraged to see that there's very little problem at Glen and at the wetlands, although I think they're not correct about the wetlands because they just did the outskirts, and I have been walking through the wetlands and finding a lot of what is it called, Japanese barberry, Tyler?
Yeah, they've got Japanese barberry, listed on their wetlands inventory, but yeah, they definitely didn't do a super expansive part of the wetlands part.
Yeah, we're trying to build a trail through there, and not that I'm smart enough to recognize it, but my guide is, and there's considerable amount of that in the interior. But the question I have is, while this is great, are we able to glean from this any sort of budgeting that we could do to present to the board, or where do we go from here?
It's really hard. I saw your email and I was gonna respond to it, and then I started thinking about it and didn't really know how I wanted to respond. Cause they're probably, with something like this, they're not gonna give numbers that. They're not static numbers that we can go back to 5 years from now. So. If we had a priority site, which he's documented our priority sites. We could get a quote, like Glen Park too, some of it. Let's see, well, where was Glen? So we've got Barberry, Black Locust, and Autumn Olive. That was considered a priority just because it's relatively pristine. You know, the things that they documented. Probably not the Black Locust, but, you could dig everything else up and avoid the licensing requirements to have pesticide wide. So that's where it's kind of just a weird situation. Daniel, I'm sure would give you a quote on any park based on the inventory. So if you said, hey, we want to tackle Glen Park, how much would it be for you to send a crew out to tree? He would give you a quote on that. Separate from the plan, and it would be easier for him because he knows exactly what's there. So. I don't know if that's the route that you want to go, is set a priority. And then just get quotes from him. And use that as your number. I know I've worked with Daniel a lot. He does get a little frustrated when he invests time into something and then we put, like, maybe if we were to put it out to bid and he isn't, he isn't the one that gets the bid. He's more of a kind of guy that he'll give you a quote if he's doing the job kind of thing. So there is that aspect of it. I don't know a good answer on how we set those numbers. And I'll
Let me
admit,
ask-
my current scope, I'm not as in tune with some of the private sector costs as I used to be.
Well, referring back to our earlier discussion about the types of volunteers, let's just take Glenn as an example. It doesn't appear that there's a lot there. Do you think that with picks and shovels, volunteers could do that?
I'm sure for the Japanese barberry, it'd be no issue at all. I don't know what the size of the autumn olive shrub is. Black locust is a tree and typically treated in a different manner. So that would require chainsaws.
Well, the black locust, when we treated it in North Point with Josh's supervision, that turned into be a big deal. John, got his name now, who's the, John Scott?
Scarlata.
Jim,
Jim
Jim
Scarlata, that's it,
yeah.
Jim Scarlata, ended up injecting
yeah.
and letting the tree stand.
So
there-
typically
Yeah.
with black locust, tree of heaven, your trees. When you take the tree down, it triggers a sucker response.
Yeah.
So the way around that is to try to leave the tree standing and incorporate the herbicide into that tree. So there's still sugars moving up and down throughout the tree. And you're just introducing herbicide into that flow of energy rather than cutting that tree down, you stop that supply and it's a reaction for it. I gotta send up new suckers because
Sprouts,
of, yeah, so that is the idea. You can do, cut stump treatments on black locust. We've done it, not as successful. Tree of Heaven is one where you definitely do not want to do it because it actually produces a hormone that like will trigger that response and it does not respond well to cut stump treatments. So you could theoretically do what is called hack and squirt on the black locust, where you're just taking a hatchet and you're based on the diameter of the tree, you put so many cuts around it and then you apply herbicide to those wounds. But then what you end up, you still have somebody applying herbicide, so they need to be licensed if they're getting paid to do it. And now you have a tree that is standing, that is dead and dying near your trailhead, so.
I'm gonna take a look next time in North Point and go back over and investigate and make sure that
Yeah.
all that was done last time died. Cause it seems like that was effective. It took some time.
Yeah,
Does it-
he used
Like
it-
after a couple of years, could you cut it down and it'll be totally dead, it won't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so you can remove it once it's died back, but yeah, Jim uses combination of injections and then he actually does a ground application as well of Velpar for smaller stuff. And that essentially, it's a soil active herbicide and that one will, slowly get into the root system and kill, but you're not cutting the tree or trimming it or
Is
anything.
there a concern with doing an injection in the Glen Park?
No,
Okay. I didn't know if somebody had an yeah. So for reference, my daughter worked at Orchard Beach State Park and she ran a high school crew that came in there and removed Japanese barberry. So Jean and I am sure would be happy to, and when we had the programming summit, Mr. Huntington, the principal, was emphatic that we need to utilize them. So that's something, and when I did the special ed field trip and taught them how to pull the great mullen, they loved it. So there is a lot of potential where citizens can remove certain ones, not the locust, but
yeah.
I just wanna say, we've already done it, we've already used citizens to remove mullen and.
So you have
Barberry.
the comprehensive inventory now, so if you want to prioritize volunteer recruitment for removing barberry in the parks,
Mhm.
we know where the barberry is, they can handle it, bring
Yeah.
thick gloves and, go at it.
Just need to know whether that's what, I mean, if the committee wants the citizens to do the work, just let Gene and I know and we can take it from there.
And then after you pile up, you can burn it.
Well, you know what, actually, once a year, are you still doing the collection for the Japanese barberry at the conservation?
Yeah, it's based on grant funding and so that's through ISN and they've all the SISMAs have been hit hard with the MISGP funds this year, so.
In the past, they had a dump
Whether-
where we could take it.
Whether it's gonna be an event this year or not, I don't know yet.
We can dispose of it in the garbage,
You
right?
can throw it away. in
We
your
have
own
dumpster
trash.
now.
So the exception to yard or lawn waste in your household trash is whether or not it's a invasive species, priority invasive species. So you can double bag barberry and put it in your own trash. That's how we just get a GFL dumpster. It just goes to the landfill. So,
Could you just burn it or?
you could, yeah.
Hey, Tyler, I forget which park they were mentioning, but I thought it was interesting that they brought up the subject that not only is there invasive species at this location, but there's invasive species immediately adjoining it, and that any work that you would do is going to be, eventually, it's going to be overridden by those adjoining properties. And I think that's something we need to think about too. I mean, are there some places where we might be taking on a battle that we can never win?
Well, I mean, that's a reality with invasive species. Whenever I talk with a landowner, you're not eradicating, you're controlling. It's never a one and done thing. It's gonna be continuous. Yeah,
Well, would there be value, or maybe the conservation district already does it, but there is, I can see the progression since I've been here and walking the parks, where I know a person who has a lot of Japanese barberry in their front yard, and then you can see that it kind of spreads in like a circle. Have you ever done an educational, anything workshop on barberry in particular and why you should not use it in your landscaping?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it seems like, so North Point
typically
Park is the
do-
one you're referring
Do
to,
one
Vic?
annually. The Cardin is the other. So
Right,
Cardin is,
so-
because it's so locked full of stuff at all the adjacent properties, it look the exact same, so.
I mean, if we could approach, I mean, I'm one of the neighbors there and I talk about it a little bit, but the conservation district has this authority, so if we choose to take that on, it might be worthwhile to do some educational with it for those landowners around the park.
Yeah, I
wherever
mean,
it is.
we typically, I don't know if we have in the last couple of years, but we used to have an annual workshop with, Cheryl Gross from Planet Wild. And so Cheryl is still typically at our spring or our fall native plant sale. No, our spring plant sale when we do it at Black Cap. Cheryl's great on native plants and non-native plants, and she used to give a presentation on, barberry specifically. So we have done them in the past, and cause barberry, one of the big misconceptions is barberry is supposed to be sterile when you get it from your box store and plant it.
As I say, they were selling it at Home Depot for $27.
Yeah.
Yep, it's been Lowe's and Home Depot's #1 selling ornamental shrub for like the last 15-20 years,
Aren't
so.
they considering banning selling it? I just saw something about that recently in Michigan, that it was up for review again.
Yeah, they might, I brought it up several times to, like, even the state. And whenever you bring it up, it's like a taboo thing, cause there's such a black market around ornamental plant sales.
The one thing
Oh, really?
I was checking into that with Invasive Species Network and, they said there's a couple of nurseries down by Holland and, that they're the two highest producing nurseries of Japanese barberry in the country. And that's one of their biggest sellers. And that the legislature doesn't want to step on their toes,
Yeah,
which is horrible.
that's exactly.
Yeah, a couple people making money is going to ruin the entire state, so.
Can it be outlawed for the township? Does it have to be a state law? Just curious. I don't wanna start a whole new thing, but
I don't know how,
can local
How that would
road work?
How would you enforce it?
and it's gotta be an enforceable law.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Prison-
just curious.
Prison sentences.
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
jump naked onto a barber.
Extradition to El Salvador.
But I mean, there's still people that plant autumn olive,
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's
Yeah.
illegal, so.
Well, anyway, I was just saying an educational piece to go along with it, to Vic's point, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean, it's a very
Even if we
easy,
I could just go door to door and hand out flyers and say, we're treating invasive species in North Point Park, and here's the information about it. And, in there say, hey, if you have barberry, remove it. I don't,
well, it's a
think I know
very
anybody
easy
there.
one to give a presentation on because there's so many, and you can link Lyme disease and everything to it, so.
Really?
Yeah, cause so there's research now showing that areas with barberry contain higher proportions of ticks carrying Lyme disease. Essentially because it's good habitat for mice, ticks feed on the mice that contract Lyme disease and then it's.
Okay.
Like 10
So-
times the population.
is that a consensus? That, for that particular thing to do, with respect to this report, should I be planning an event or a field trip specific to barberry and mullein? Those are the only two I know that.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, mullein in my eyes is not a high priority, but
It's easy though for
It
the
is
kids and it
easy
gets
and
them
it
in that
gets them-
mindset.
get some thinking.
Or do we
So
wanna, Vic, do you
I'm on
wanna
board
throw
for
it back to the-
volunteer barberry removal.
Yeah, me too. That's.
All right, so I have a question for the group. I'm looking for a path forward, and so far what I'm hearing is there are several ways you could move. One, you could go park by park. The other is you could go species by species. So what's and then I heard that Michelle has offered a solution, which is, well, we could do an educational thing. That's good. I'm more at this point interested in what's our overall direction moving forward? Should we be making recommendations on a park by park basis? Should we be, you know, I like to put things in logical steps. So what do you think we should be doing? And I defer to our two experts, Tyler, Brian. What do you think? How do we eat this whale?
Well, I mean, I think if we had an annual allocation for treatment of particular species, we could identify based on park, because if you're gonna hire a contractor to do treatment, you can hire them to treat multiple different things. They're gonna be treated relatively similarly. So have a plan in place where we have an annual budget and we chip away, at a particular park. And then once we've, completed that, we move on. I don't know, I guess I could see. I guess I don't see the pros of focusing on a particular species in all of the parks. I think that would just drive the cost up. I think it would be better to focus on one park at a time and chip away at it and then move on to the next. And then by the time you're done with all the parks, you're coming back to the first one again.
So how about this? One is an annual budget for treatments. The amount is TBD. Two, volunteer efforts for barberry or other easy items to remove, working with the school who wants to work with us. Three, an education program for adjoining neighbors. Are those the three logical steps moving forward?
I think so.
It's good. I like the educational part, that we could use, for example, North Point Park, get people in there and show them, here's what barberry looks like, here's how you get rid of it. And, look for it on your properties and areas, so you can spread the army of anti-barberry people out there. Increase their knowledge through the parks.
Do you think we could get attendance at a township board, at the Far Center or the township, if we had an invasive species meeting for the public where we took them through all of these things here, just so that they kind of understand what's going on? Do you think
whole meeting, I think, I mean, it's worth a shot to do an educational meeting sponsored by the Parks and Rec about invasive species. Maybe people come, I don't know.
That's my question, because it could be joint sponsored by us and the Conservation District where we take them through this. People seem to be interested in invasive species. I just don't know whether we could get any attendance or not. Certainly in winter we wouldn't, but maybe in the spring or after the summer people arrive.
Well, one thing, we could do that, and one thing we can do, so, because the Conservation District is licensed, and myself and Josh are both registered applicators, so we could even do a component of a field day. Where we do an educational piece, and then maybe we go over to Cardin and show people how they can treat, autumn olive and honeysuckle on their own property, because you don't need to be licensed to apply herbicides on your own property. We as a township have to hire someone that is licensed to do treatments, so.
So maybe a two-part thing. We have a meeting that shows everybody in the community what's going on at our parks, and then we have a field day that shows them, here's what it looks like in person, here's how you can treat it on your own property, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because we do a similar workshop, with ISN every year. We do an autumn olive workshop, typically at Orchard Beach, where we kind of go through cost share programs that landowners can apply for, identification, control strategies, and then we walk across the street from the pavilion there and show them how to use a brush saw and cut down autumn olive and how to do a cut stump treatment. So it would be relatively easy for us to duplicate here.
I can see.
Just a quick insight. Remember, in the community, we have near and far friends that meet every Friday in the winter months or fall and winter, and Mary Fairgrieve is the contact there. And I know that she would probably be open to a presentation.
That's a great idea.
Their attendance is anywhere from about 6 to 24 people in the community. And if it's advertised right, you would get more people at that. And it's a planned meeting already. It's always happening.
I think you could get a lot of interest by stirring up fear, by posters with ticks on them. Don't sell it.
Well,
Yes.
I'm battling now a tick issue with my dog, so yeah.
Yeah, that would get a lot of interest.
Then we show them a map of all the barbarian
Yeah,
parks,
yeah.
and they're like, I'm not gonna use the park.
Going to park.
I'm not going to.
Staying in
North
my
Point.
living room.
I think, I thought it was 2027 is they're gonna release a vaccine for,
Lyme disease.
Oh, really?
that's what I read. A while, it's on track for 2027,
Then you
but it's like it's only like, it's kind of like a flu shot, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
gotta,
you have to keep it.
yeah, and there's one, if you're gonna go hiking in, the mountains or whatever, there's certain kind of ticks over there. You go get that shot and then you're,
I'll just stick with my dog's flea and tick treatment.
yeah.
Drop it on my neck.
Yeah. It probably works just the same.
Okay, so I feel like the unanswered question here is the annual budget for treatments. I have no idea how we would come up with that. Should we just maybe have Schillinger give us an estimate for, obviously we can't do North Point. It's just so big. What about just getting an estimate for Glenn and using that as sort of a at least some understanding of what it would cost to do these things.
I don't think Glenn is gonna be a good one to get an estimate on, just cause you've nothing really there. You got mobilization costs to get him here, to treat 4 things that's gonna take him a half hour. I think that we're better off setting a dollar value that we are okay with spending annually, and whatever work we can get done for that dollar value, that's what we work on that year. And so that could be North Point, and then we strategically, work on those parks to, get those, perimeter, well, I guess not perimeter, but interior species. You wanna work towards the source of the spread. So you wanna take the things that have jumped away from the large area or the dense infestation. You wanna take those outliers out first, and you work back towards the source of the spread. So like we could figure that out at North Point where our outliers are, and we focus, so maybe we focus on the interior and we have a budget of, $2,000. And we treat as much as we can back to the edges of North Point. And then the following year we come back and we keep building and pushing back.
So my view is that $2,000 is an easy sell, $10,000 is a hard sell. So do you think we could actually get much done with 2,000?
Well, I mean, if we look back at what Scarlata did for North Point, I mean, he did quite a lot of treatments in that middle section around the paved path. I can't remember what he charged for that. I mean, and that's what I mean, we just need to decide on what's an annual number that seems reasonable. And we try to get as much done, cause to do all of North Point Park, it could be, $15,000-$20,000, I don't know. And that is like you said, that's a tougher sell, but if we could get the board to commit to 3,000-4,000 a year for invasive species treatments, and then we now have the plan to prioritize the areas, and we say, hey, what can you do in this area for $3,000? And then we go that way. To me, that seems like the easiest way to do it.
So I'm gonna include in the budget $5,000 for invasive species, and and we're gonna tell them it's annual. We'll present this report to them, and I'll need you there at that budget meeting to explain how we're going to approach it. And let's just see if we can get that sold. That'll be a start. But I think we have to kind of get a feeling from the board, their appetite for spending money on this stuff, knowing it's like leasing a car. We got to do this forever and ever and ever. So if everybody's in agreement with that, I'll put that in the budget. Does anybody feel we should do
Sounds
something
good.
differently?
Yeah, I like asking up to 5,000 instead, so, if they whittle us down. So I think it's a big problem now and it's just going to get worse and it's going to require money and attention. So
And theoretically, yes, you've got that 5,000 annually for, I don't know, 6, 7 years. Maybe you get to a point where, that annual budget is 1,500 because we're just doing mop up stuff. So.
Descending budget. Okay, so then recapping this, we're gonna ask for the $5,000. We're going to perhaps include a volunteer effort for Barberry. We can include a type of volunteer being a Barberry volunteer or words to that effect. We're gonna have an education program that uses this document, and we may use the near and far group. And we have a budget for signage, so maybe you guys can help us design some signs that fear people into joining the parade. So does that sound like a strategy moving forward?
sounds good.
Okay. Next is Michigan Green Trails. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nothing, you're fine, Nick.
The next thing is the Michigan Trails thing. Michelle, did you want to take the lead on that discussion? And Rick, you as well. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
this is something that's really going to be appropriate if and when we get a trail, but I don't want to have Michelle kind of give us the history of this.
It's okay. Go ahead. I'm fine.
Mine and the e-bike.
There isn't much of a history. This was something that was brought up at the Trails Workshop I attended. And I was not part of this 10/23/25 discussion forum. But because I had attended the Trails Workshop, they sent this to me. And the e-bike toolkit that came out of that meeting was the one that I emailed out last night at, I guess, 11:18 PM. And the recommendation is that we use their guidelines or something that you definitely need some kind of a policy. So I don't know if anybody got a chance to actually read it.
Well, I read through it, and I think that in the event that we get a trail, certainly I would want to have Rick and the trail team, keep this in mind as they develop it so that, when the trail launches, it launches using all of the knowledge that we have here. What does it?
There's already e-bikes being used in North Point and on Langland.
Yeah, there's e-bikes are everywhere in the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something new.
Yeah, the only issue I could see is, just based on our meeting last night, those standards where they design a bike trail and what they're rated for and all that is up to, it said 18 miles an hour. So I know some of those e-bikes are way faster than 18 miles an hour. So again, no way to enforce it, no way to say, oh geez, this is the something model that goes 35. But just so you're aware that probably when we are getting further into the details of the bike path, there'll be something about the standards for a non-motorized pathway is designed up to 18 miles.
We've had a couple conversations at a meeting, and it's kind of like opening Pandora's box, right? It's
Yep.
kind of like how fast does your car go on the road?
Right.
So it's kind of like it's there. You can put a sign if you elect not to do it or to do it, and you just kind of keep on going. You could spend days
Yeah.
debating this topic, and I think we want to mitigate it because it's nothing we can do.
Well, there's no way to enforce it, there's no way
Yeah.
to check on it, they, you know, if we get to do it, and get it done, and then there's e-bikes on it.
Okay, so the question I have is again, Dick and Jane, very simple question. Now that we've all seen this and I'm hearing that we have bikes in our parks already, is there an expectation that we're going to add a budget item for signs or not?
I don't think so myself, but that's just my opinion.
Others?
People don't read the sign.
I don't know about the signs, but I think having an understood policy within the committee that we can then express to people, either in an educational session or I don't know. I don't think we can just avert our eyes and say that there's not gonna be any complications from having e-bikes increasing. I agree.
But I want, what are we gonna do? What do I put on the list? What assignment do I give? What budget am I doing anything right now in terms of budgeting or making assignments?
I don't think until you have a problem, it's really.
Yeah.
Can't really prioritize it. Or we could just plan to put curbs periodically on the trail, they gotta stop and go.
Leap over it, yeah,
Speed bumps.
Yeah.
Maybe some electromagnets that
yeah,
mess with the motor.
yes, take your battery to zero.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize I'm downstate on the weekends and there are some obnoxious people that do very dangerous things. So it's a very real issue. I just don't know as Parks and Rec what we should be doing about it. And to me, it comes down to it's either a budget item or it's an assignment. And I just trying to get something out of it, or we're just aware that this could become a problem as we move forward.
I would say it.
Awareness
we
for me.
are aware of it, and it could become an issue as we move forward. I mean, we're not even at the point of saying, yes, we're gonna get a bike non-motorized trail. I mean, we're trying, but.
Well, you're not talking about trail, you're talking about overall in our parks, Vic?
Yeah. Well, I'm Michelle, I guess I defer to you. I mean, you brought this to the group. Is there something that you would like us to be doing about this? I agree. Certainly in a suburban environment, it's already a problem. I don't know if it's a problem where we are right now. I just want to know what is the expectation so that we can all discuss it and decide whether we're going to move forward with a budget item or an assignment or something.
I think it's a fair point to put this on hold. Maybe, especially since it just, was sent out at 11:18 PM, maybe we put it on the back burner for 6 months. But I don't wanna lose sight of it, because I would hate to have it be that some dog gets run over, or, an old person gets run over, or bumped even, I don't want to be too dramatic, but I don't like to wait until someone has been harmed to have a policy or a strategy. So it's fair to, at least because we're heading into the winter months for sure, this is not urgent, but I don't want to, just say that we're not.
Well, we can put up a sign that says no e-bikes.
It's not no e-bikes, that's not a.
No, that's not it. I think if I can set in, I think to follow what Michelle says, I think it's an awareness item. We're aware that it's a trend that's happening in communities across the country and in the state, and we just need to monitor it.
So what are our current regulations for the parks on bikes? Like,
Nothing.
we don't have, so somebody could ride their bike through the middle of North Point off trail.
We actually, we don't have any policies that I'm aware of that I've ever seen in any of the documentation, other than we have a sign that says like no fires. But as far as bikes.
So that would be my consideration, if we wanted to do something now, is determine where do we even want, not just e-bikes, but just bikes in general. And then maybe potentially have signs, like if we don't want people mountain biking at Glen Park, nor do we want e-bikes at Glen Park, a sign that says no bikes at Glen Park. Or at North Point, bike only on the trail, something like that. And that doesn't get around the e-bike situation when that presents itself, but that's the only thing I could theoretically say we could discuss now and determine a line item for if we wanted to be more restrictive on types of recreational access at any of the parks.
Yeah, and if I recall from the meeting I was at, you also restrict, there's 3 classes of e-bikes. And I can get the policy from Northville. The third one is basically a dirt bike. You don't let
Yeah.
those in the
I
park.
mean, they are, they have like
So-
knobby tires, there's no pedals
I
on
think
them.
the state
I
already
would be willing to
regulates.
reach out to the Northville people who hosted the meeting and brought in the speaker and see, because I know that they developed them. Yeah, that's right. Rick, you have my document.
I know I
Did you,
do.
Rick, did you get to go
I
see
I read
the?
it, I read it and I went to go visit it.
Cool.
So,
Well, I mean, but Rick, you're really the lead on trails. I don't wanna. I mean, I'll follow your lead. I would be willing to work with you and come up with something that's reasonable, like, I like where Tyler's going with it. Just so we have our, we don't lose sight of it, that's all.
That's fine.
so Tyler, would you scroll up to the signs that are in that presentation? I know you're showing there's a page that had a couple of yellow signs on it. There you go. Yeah, something like this, is it too soon to do something like this? Are these the kind of signs we're talking? I saw one about 18 miles an hour or something. I worry about putting a sign on there that talks about the category of bike because people aren't going to understand that. But if there's something like this that we're suggesting, just pick which one or design something and we can put a budget item in and we can ask the board whether we want to do it. But again, only if you feel that doing that now is an appropriate thing to do. But we're going into the budget for the next fiscal year, which starts April 1st of 26 through 27. So we need to think about it now if we're going to ask for that money.
I mean, me looking at these 2 signs, like if I were to bring a bike to North Point and see either of those signs, like I'm just gonna ignore them. I think realistically, there's a place for signs, like,
I'm not into the signs, if that's what you're thinking,
Yeah.
I'm not pushing signs.
no, but I could see it like in, the trail in Traverse City that goes around the lake that is 18 feet wide and there's 500 people on it and it's all mixed use, like that's what that sign on the left looks like to me and that's the location for it.
Yeah,
But when I go out to North Point and I'm gonna see 3 people, like,
Yeah.
to me, it's a waste of a sign.
yes.
I agree with Tyler.
I don't like
I
the
think if we
signs.
have a dedicated route or something that's gonna be
Yeah.
used a lot, yes.
Yeah, and then you
Just
have
to
the
put a-
signs on the left that says, caution or share the trail, and you got pictures of a guy on a bike, somebody's walking,
So-
little kid and somebody
As
jogging.
far as North Point, what we do have out there right now is a list of things that you can and you can't do, that's already existing. So it wouldn't be, and I made that sign, and I laminated that sign, and I put it in the bulletin board. I mean, for basically 0 cost, we can just add one more. Do people read that? No, but if there were ever an incident where somebody caused an issue, at least we have something to point back to. Yes, it was posted that this was done, and so you're talking about no money. And then I will be very happy to work with Rick on some very basic, like, what is it that we do and we don't want, like, I never realized we don't say that you can't leave the trails in North Point. A lot of people do, especially with dogs, but that's a whole nother, we're not gonna
Yeah,
go
that's
there.
I
Well,
think
I
we're starting to get this in a complexity conversation. Maybe we take it offline
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will work with you.
and take care of it.
Well,
So I am not going to have anything in the notes other than Rick and Michelle are going to discuss
Yes,
further
thank you.
activities with. Okay. All right. So those are all of the items that I have. Does anybody have anything else to discuss today?
I just wanna, bring it, I don't know if this is the right time, but, I just want the committee's blessing to sign up for the, convention. And last year, Matt, you said you might go with me to the Parks Convention.
Well,
It's in March. It's the first week in
I
March.
have a family situation that both my parents are in hospice,
Oh,
so if they both kick the bucket, I'm not going anywhere, you know what I mean? Or
okay.
I
Well, is
need
there
to be,
anyone
I
else
need to
that would
be
be
here.
interested
Yeah.
in participating with me? I think we kind of got the blessing from Matt and Vic and Ed and the board that professional development is something we want, but is there anyone else on the committee that would want to go to the Parks Association conference?
Where is it, Michelle?
I believe it is in Grand Traverse this year.
Okay.
So I'll need budget for that, so, you know, if anyone's raising
That
their
was part
hand.
of this year's budget. I should have been part of this year's budget.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
we-
had money in this year's budget, no question about it. And if it is in March, it will come out of this year's budget. But going forward, if we're gonna be doing this, just keep in mind, I need to have some dollar amount that I need to load into the budget for the next year.
I'm gonna do my very best to make you proud on my budget.
Okay,
Improving it every year.
Dick, I have one item.
okay,
Just from informational and, you know, after doing this for a couple of years. We got grant writers, we got projects. You know, we start coming against spring and that's when the grants kick in. So we just all need to be aware. I know the last couple of grants that we've got, the one I did and what you did, we were up against the wall and we really had to rush to get it done. So we need to put some kind of placeholder in there. So we know that date's coming and whether we're gonna do something or not, I think that'd be helpful.
all right, so let's talk about that for just a minute, because, you know, we've had a couple of meetings about 5-year plan. And I put together a spreadsheet that shows that with the trail, you know, we have an ask of the board of over $1 million. I don't have that document immediately at hand, but even without the trail, the projects that we put on the list, which were Eagle View, Glen Park, essentially those were the big ones, each at about $385,000. I think the subject for our next meeting needs to be nailing down what we as a group want to present to the board as capital expenditures over the next 5 years. And we agreed as a group, unless there's any disagreement at this point, that what we had on that spreadsheet are the items that we're considering. So
My
shall-
comment to that is, at least for me, I've been waiting for the data from the survey to make any comments one way or another
okay,
on the capital. So I think my opinion is we need to get the survey data and compare it to our list, if there's any changes or community, and then put together our capital list. What I'm just making an alert is we should probably put a calendar together where some key grants are coming at us and know it. And whether the trail goes or doesn't go or whatever, we should make sure we have backup so we don't miss that window.
so
that
I
make
don't
sense?
disagree with that. Let's talk about that as a calendar item. Right now, our next meeting is December the 19th. And my hope is that this meeting today went well enough that we can do it again, because I'll be driving on that day. But I think it would probably be smart to pick our drop dead date on the survey for our consideration. And my proposal would be December 31st that's when we begin to assess that. Is that all right
Okay.
with everybody?
That's fine,
Yes.
whatever date you got, and then we take that data and then find out what the community's asking for or focusing on or looking for.
Is it possible right now we schedule a meeting for the review of that and our proposed 5-year plan, and make it the first week of January?
How long would that allow us to review the data? I don't have a calendar. I'm opening it up in front of me.
Well, I'm looking at December 31st as a Wednesday. And then, you know, the following week, can we meet to go over it?
My concern still is that the survey hasn't even gone out.
Oh, I agree. As
So
I
if
said,
we
I'm
don't have any additional data, I mean, we might want to make this tentative.
Well, you're feeling the squeeze that I'm feeling. I mean, I have a budget that's due in the end of January, which includes our capital expenditures. Rick is telling us about another window that's closing, which is the grant cycle, and I don't have survey results yet, other than the 170.
Well, yeah, so another way of saying this is by whatever date you got, December 31st, do we think there's enough data to give us some direction? I mean, I don't know when all this stuff, when is our drop dead for the final survey, you think? We're putting December 31st for a meeting, but how long do people think we need to leave that survey out before it's finalized? I know for
Well,
the master plan, I think they got 200 maybe. 150, I may be wrong, something like that.
No, you're right. And we're almost at that level right now. Yesterday morning it was 169. If we got 500, which is my goal, I think that would be bigger than ever in history. So,
Would you get that by the end of December?
well, the one that we know is going out and the date is going out is the end of November is when the tax notification goes out, and it will be in that. We also are hoping to get one out in the next couple of days. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have 2 mailings go out. And my guess would be that if people are going to respond to it, they're going to respond to it as they get it, because if they put it to the side, they're never going to get back to it. So I think we're probably going to have our results by the end of December, but they could trickle in for months.
Glad you find this humorous too, and I am a volunteer. Hilarious.
What was that? I missed it. Hello?
I don't
I'm
think that
so
was,
sorry for that.
okay, that was not part of the
Okay,
meeting.
so basically, Vic, you're saying we should have a critical mass well above 169 by that date. And that
That's
should be,
my-
and
that's
should,
my-
and do we agree that that'll be good? I think it's good. I would agree that 31st, based on the things coming out, whatever that number is going to be above 200 is pretty a large number historically for any survey that's gone out in our community.
I agree. Does anybody disagree?
No,
Okay, so that says to me, if it goes out the last week of November, the second one, then by the end of December, we should have the results. If we can begin looking at those results on December 31st and perhaps meet on the first week of January to review those, I'd like to meet a couple of times in January, aside from our normal meeting, to put together our 5-year plan. One will be a thorough review of the survey, and the second will be finalizing the spreadsheet that talks about the projects we're going to present to the board. Does
It sounds
anybody
tentatively good. I can't commit to those dates right now, but if I'm available, I'll participate.
other input? Anybody?
I would prefer to know the dates so I can put them in my calendar. Or else
So let's-
I'll not be able to participate.
Let's pick the dates. So I'm looking at December 31st is a Wednesday, at which point I'm sure I can figure out how to take the survey results, put it into a PowerPoint and get it to everybody. So just assume that you're going to be seeing those results on Wednesday, the 31st. Can we pick a date to meet on the following week, the week of the 5th, January 5th?
What's that Wednesday?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
I might be able to do that Wednesday,
Wednesday, the 7th?
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna say survey review on 1/7. And then how about, what about the 14th for our proposal?
Are you looking at times right now too, or are you just thinking?
Give us a time, Vic.
All right,
Same
well,
time.
let's do what we always do, 8:30 to 10. And 14th, same thing.
There'll be a call-in option.
Absolutely, always. And Zoom, we'll do the same thing that we're doing now.
7th, what's the next date? What's the next date again, Vic, please?
It's the next Wednesday. Wednesdays are good for you, right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can do the 14th, but I could do the 7th, we'll try.
Is there another day on the week of the 12th that would work for you?
I think the 14th, earlier is better in the month for me, so I'll be leaving, I won't be here, so.
Well, let me ask this. Can we make the first meeting on December 31st to review the survey and the second one on the 7th?
I don't
December
think so.
31st
I
on
don't,
New Year's Eve?
Oh,
don't-
you're right.
I
You're
am
I
right.
not
don't think
available.
so.
You're right. I'm
I
sorry.
don't think so, Vic. I think we need some time to look at it and synthesize it a little bit. If you give it to us and then we have a meeting that same day,
All right. Okay, so right now, the only meeting we have scheduled is the 7th for a review of the survey. And I'd
and you're
say
gonna
maybe,
send,
I think that what we do is I'll have that survey out to you on December 31st. And the meeting that we're going to have on the 7th is going to be our proposal for the capital expenditures, our 5-year plan.
I
I
mean,
will-
is there any way that we could just have one marathon meeting? I don't know. This is my perspective and I know other people have work conflicts, but can we do both meetings in one?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do on the 7th.
Okay,
what?
So I'm gonna say we start at 8:30, and then our goal would be to finish by well, I'm gonna leave that open. 8:30 to 11 is what I'm gonna put on the calendar, and then people can attend as best they can.
I'm not gonna guarantee anything, but I'm gonna try to collate some of this information for us.
What do you mean
I don't know.
collate?
Well, trends. When you look at it, it's like who goes to what park? What is this? When you look at a survey, just because somebody says they want to do a hula hoop, it's what park are they talking about and what's the age group that people are looking at? I don't know.
But Rick, we've got all of that in the survey. I mean, it's to me, we spent so much time developing the survey. It asks, first of all,
Okay.
who's our audience? Well, do you own a house? Do you not own a house? I mean, we got that, and then I think the survey is going to be, and we can present it. It allows me to present it in a lot of different ways, pie charts, all kinds of stuff. So,
Okay. I'll just
in fact,
I'll take a look at it to do some collating. I'm not going to guarantee it, but you may see something if I have time.
well, so what I will do is I will do a preliminary presentation to everybody, starting like on the second week of December. I will send out the results. I'll send out new results the week after that, new results the following week, so that by the 7th, we've seen and all have a pretty good idea of it. So you'll begin seeing data in the second week of December. That makes sense?
Sounds good.
Good.
All right. Anything else? Okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned at 10:06. Thanks, everybody. Tyler, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, close her up as you will.
Everybody have a great holiday.
Thanks.
I'm looking at this. I sent you the link. It would be